Hey, everybody, some cool news about the pod before we get going on today's show. Ion College Basketball is again a finalist in the Sports Podcast Awards in the category for Best Basketball Podcast. So, in an effort to do some PSA work this time around, we wanted to get the word out. And by that, I mean we're doing it in the final week of voting. If you're watching on YouTube, you see a QR code right over my right shoulder here. Feel free to tap that and head on through. If you are listening to this podcast on your phone, on a tablet, through any podcast provider you use, go to the episode description of this show. We will have a link to the Sports Podcast Awards site where you can go and log your vote. I've already done it. It takes less than 60 seconds to do. They tell me that these awards are entirely determined by fan votes, so let's go out and prove that. There's more of us than there are of them, and if we wind up winning, who knows? Maybe we'll finally actually start making and selling t-shirts related to the show that you can wear proudly. But regardless, appreciate you so much. Because of our listenership, you make this possible. So go ahead, go vote often, tell your friends. Appreciate you. And now let's get to the show. The first game of Saturday, which was an 11 a.m. Eastern tip, was the best game of the day. And not only was it the best game of the day, it was the most efficient game on offense between two high major teams this season, and probably will go down as that period. Kentucky wins 106-100 over Florida in a top 10 matchup. I think we got the box score on that too. It was a big time match. Oh, what's that? Oh, that's the Bears beating the Packers 24. That's not the box score I was expecting. Shouts to the Bears though, by the way. How about my Bears beating the Packers at the buzzer, GP? Tell me you were dialed in.
I was not.
Tell me you were locked into the Bears.
Not locked into the Bears, but congratulations. I'm happy for you.
Let's go. Listen.
Hey, if you're happy about it, I'm happy for you.
5-12. I'll take it.
Yeah.
It was quite the Sunday afternoon in the Norlander household. Hey, listen, nobody, and I mean nobody, beats the Chicago Bears 12 times in a row. You understand me?
I do understand.
1-0 in 2025 and guaranteed to not lose a game until September. Let's freaking go. We can toss up the real box score for really or not. You're the best for that. Appreciate that. 106-100. Kobe Brea goes for 23 points. His most in a Kentucky uniform, hit 7 threes. Every single one of them lit Rupp Arena on fire. Andrew Carr came up big late with a couple of key baskets there. He has a good knack for making the plays Kentucky needs in tight games there. They had 6 players with at least 14 points. Brea, Butler had 19, Otega Owe had 16, Amari Williams had 15, Carr had 14, Jackson Robinson had 14. Yeah, man, Kentucky, they were outstanding in this game. Florida was as well. I mean, Kentucky was at 1.47 points per possession, and Florida lost a game on the road at 1.39 PPP. What? That's insane. Credit to ESPN stats and information with this great nugget here. Pope is now 3-0 against AP top 10 teams as Kentucky's coach. Adolph Rupp is the only other coach in the history of that blue blood program to ever start 3-0 against top 10 competition. What did you make of what we saw to get the day going on Saturday in Rupp Arena, with Florida obviously getting knocked from the ranks of the unbeaten, but putting up a heck of a fight and also getting up early before Kentucky went on like a 16-0 run in the first half to really flip it, and then it was a battle from there on out?
Well, and often, people like to pick on the sport because the shot making isn't what you see in the NBA, as if that should be surprising. Like the point I've always said, if you watch a college football game, the quarterbacks there don't throw it like the quarterbacks in the NFL. Mm-hmm. It's two different levels of a sport. My point being, when two teams are out there struggling, people love to hold that up as, oh my God, this is college basketball. Well, that's what college basketball can be too, And I know that's excessive and unusual and probably not replicable, but it was awesome. And, the more of that, the better. There was an interesting moment in that second half. Florida, which had been down most of the game and was down double digits at the half, they cut it to 70-69 with 12:05 left. And Todd Golden calls timeout. And immediately Kentucky comes out, 10-0 run, pushes it up to 80-69.
Yes.
The timeout did not work. And Florida never got closer than 2 the rest of the way. So they were close again and within striking distance again, but they never got as close as they were after Todd called that timeout. And so fun game, I guess a missed opportunity on some level for Florida, but is this weird to say? I was just as impressed by Florida's first loss as I was by any of Florida's wins.
That's fair to say, GP.
I think I can come out of that loss going, you know what? I feel like I'm more of a believer in them after their first loss than I was after their first 13 wins. Because right now, they still have 0 wins over top 40 teams in the net. They're just 1-1 in quadrant one. And they got a ridiculous stretch coming up, or at least they're in the middle of it now. They go at Kentucky. Next up, Tennessee at home. So number 1 team at home. You got to go at Kentucky, then play number 1 team in the country. Yeah. And then at Arkansas next weekend. But I don't want to sound like, you know what, man? It looks like Florida's really good. We've known Florida was really good. The computers highlight that. But I don't come out of that going, yeah, see, they're computer trickers. I come out of that going, man, when you can go trade punches with Kentucky in Rupp like that for 40 minutes, that's a quality basketball. That's a good basketball team.
Elijah Martin had 26, came up really strong in this one. He had 5 threes. Walter Clayton Jr. had 6 threes. He went for 33, and it wasn't just those 2 players, but those were the guys that were carrying Florida. I mean, this was a great thing for the SEC and for college hoops in general. 2 teams, top 10. You got a number next to each of them inside that top 10, and they go for the 100+ in a supremely watchable game. Really, really awesome stuff. And the rest of Saturday did not even come close to living up to the tone and the tenor that the Gators and the Wildcats put on. But I thought that was awesome stuff. And yeah, like I went and checked, I don't know, about an hour and a half after the game finished, because I knew they had both played extremely well. I mean, they hit a combined 26 triples in this one. But to see like a combined, better than 1.4 points per possession between both teams, like I would love to be wrong. But the odds are so low that we will get 2 high major teams that are that good on offense across 40 minutes again this season. So treasure, and for Florida to do that on the road was particularly impressive there. But that was the only SEC game that was compelling for 40 minutes. That was really, really close. There was only one other game. Vandy LSU, I think, was decided by 8. All the other games were blowouts.